Good afternoon. Sorry for this delay of this press takeout that we are doing after the event on the Syria crisis organized by the European Union and Jordan. So without further ado, I will first give the floor to Federica Mogherini, High Representative of the European Union. Federica, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. We had a very important session of work co-hosted by our Jordan friends on the issue of the Syrian refugees. We tackled not only the issue of humanitarian assistance, which was obviously the focus of the meeting, but also obviously the political track and also the security one when it comes to the Syrian crisis. You know very well that the Syrian refugees problem is first of all a problem for the region, and we have all recognized the incredible, important, wonderful work that Jordan is playing in hosting so many refugees, together with the other countries of the region, in particular Lebanon and Turkey, and the need to focus all our efforts in supporting this process, and not only focusing on the work in the camps, but also focusing on the support to hosting communities, local communities that are hosting millions of people with a difficult situation, obviously, when it comes to services, health services, education, and a social situation. But we focused very much also on the fact that dealing with the humanitarian aspect of the crisis is curing only the symptoms. And then at the same time, we also have to tackle the causes, which is the war in Syria. And this requires, on one side, the security track, the fight against Daesh, and on the other side, the political one, the diplomatic efforts that are very much going on, as you know, around this week here in New York, to start the political transition, or as some put it, changes in the democratic life of Syria. I see that around this concept of starting a political process that includes all Syrians that refuse terrorism and want to fight and unite forces against terrorism, I see that there might be a political space for new initiatives in the coming weeks, and that around this General Assembly there are talks that can bring the different parties around the table in Syria, around Syria, with the regional players and the international community, starting from the main actors here in the UN. So this was not the main focus of the event we've had, very well attended, not only by European friends, but also Arab and international foreign ministers or high-level officials, showing that this is really an issue for the international community at large. Let me say finally, because sometimes we have the impression, I have personally the impression, that we're waking up to this now, because the refugee crisis is more visible today to our Western eyes, while our friends in the region have been facing this for years now. I was visiting myself the camps in Jordan itself, not now, not 1 week ago, but in December. I think we have to stay focused on this, and I think we have to use this new sense of urgency that is growing in Europe in particular, but in the rest of the world, to push for doing more on the humanitarian side, giving more money to the agencies, starting from the UNHCR, but also the World Food Programme, that are doing an excellent work, not only in the camps, but also at the same time to push for doing something better on the political track and on the security track. So doing more, doing more, doing more on the humanitarian, working also on some possibilities of opening safe passages for humanitarian help inside Syria, doing more on the humanitarian, doing more together, and different on the political and security side. Thank you, and I leave the floor to the minister.
So I give the floor now to Minister Imad FAKHOURY, Minister of Planning and International Cooperation of Jordan. Minister, the floor is yours.
It's a great pleasure to be with you today, and it was a great pleasure and honor to co-host this very important meeting with our friends in the European Union. As Jordan is at the forefront of dealing with the repercussions of the Syrian crisis, we're the third country in the world to have received refugees per capita wise historically. We have 20% of our population now is Syrian. There are multiple, as a host country, multiple points that we wanted to communicate in terms of rethinking, all of us as an international community, the way we deal with the repercussions of the Syrian crisis. From the Jordanian point of view, being at the forefront of dealing with the regional turbulence and keeping Jordan thankfully very safe and an oasis of stability over the many decades, and especially in recent years, and keeping the borders open, which has kept more and more people seeking safety to come to Jordan. We realize now that we have a tremendous window of opportunity that has opened up, that has brought the sense of urgency back to the forefront of not just dealing with the Syrian crisis, but dealing with the Syrian refugee crisis. And from a Jordanian point of view, we have always been very grateful to the support of the international community, but there are specific interventions that are a must in view of dealing with this crisis. One, the sense of urgency is bringing this back to the forefront. We need a holistic approach, as our colleagues have said very clearly, the holistic approach that deals with the political track, the security track, but more importantly, in parallel, it has to deal with the two aspects, the humanitarian side as well as with the resilience side. The humanitarian side, we can no longer, as the fifth year starts of this crisis, not fully fund by the international community the humanitarian appeals. This is a key aspect of why we see things deteriorating to the levels that we've seen them in recent months. So the appeals on the humanitarian level should be met, and we need to fund them adequately. More importantly, and in parallel, the appeals on the resilience plans and the response plans that the neighboring countries, especially Jordan and Lebanon, that have been developing at the urging of the international community and the urging of the UN agencies, where we have presented clear plans and frameworks that combines humanitarian, development and resilience needs packaged under one program. These also have been critically underfunded by the international community. Thirdly, two critical countries like Jordan and Lebanon, who happen to be upper middle income countries, who have worked very hard to reach that level of development. And thanks to our friends and partners internationally over the many decades, our ability to sustain the response has reached a saturation point. And we need new concessionary financing windows and tools to be made available to us, so we are not penalized for the level of development we reached, and we are not penalized for doing the moral and right thing, and these are the values we subscribe to in Jordan, to keep our borders open and to help our Arab brethren running for safety and stability in our country. We need the international community to lead an effort to come up with new innovative financing tools to help us address the ability for us to sustain dealing with this crisis and to adequately support the refugees at the Syrian level, and in parallel make sure that we support our own host communities and our abilities to continuously deal with this issue. Finally, we also made some critical points regarding not to forget the other refugees in the region, specifically support to UNRWA and the Palestinian refugees, because we have other crises historic that has sustained serious efforts and are also getting challenged in terms of the lack of sufficient resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Because of time constraint, we can take two questions. So I think there were, okay, the gentleman here and then the lady at the back. I'm sorry.
Sure.
So first.
Earlier today here, the foreign minister of Hungary was talking about refugees, and he said that he believes that the EU should fund entirely the refugee camps that are in Turkey, Jordan, and he also spoke favorably of this EU NAV4 off Libya. said it should be even more robust. So I wanted to, I guess, ask Ms. Mogherini, what do you think of Hungary's support for NAV4 and the proposal about funding these camps? Thanks.
The proposal to fund the camps, but also and mostly financing the resilience of the hosting countries and the hosting communities on one side, and the work of the agencies, is the decision that the European Council, the Extraordinary European Council, took last week, exactly 1 week ago, last Wednesday, to increase the level of our support financially, both to the countries directly, we have a trust fund there, and also through our financing to the agencies. Let me say that the European Union is the biggest donor, not only in the region but also worldwide. You listen often here, and also President Obama in his speech referring to the fact that the US are the first individual donor. If you question yourself why he adds the word individual, because the European Union is the first donor collectively. The EU plus the member states, we have invested close to 10 billion euros on the Syrian crisis and the Syrian refugee crisis so far, which means that obviously we can do more, and we are doing more. We have decided to do more, but the amount of money we are putting in managing this crisis and supporting our partners and our friends in the region is already enormous, is already huge. I say it's an investment, so I fully share the fact that it's our duty, moral, political and regional, because we share the same region, we're on the same boat, as we say, across the Mediterranean. Staying on the Mediterranean, on EUNAVFOR Med, actually we have just decided the rename of the operation. I hate personally these bureaucratic names we have to our missions and operation, and we've decided to call the operation Sophia, which is the name of the baby that was born on one of the ships that are operating in the operation that saved and rescued people, among which a woman that gave birth to these children on to this baby on the boat. The support of the member states is full. We have managed to start the operation and to even decide now the transitioning to phase 2 of the operation at a record time. Most of the member states are contributing to the operation. I was visiting the headquarters last week, just before coming to New York, and I am more than happy to see that member states are fully supporting this. Let me stress, as we are here in the United Nations, where I first time, and I think we met there at that time, presented the plan to the Security Council and to the members of the Security Council. It is an operation that is targeting the smugglers and the traffickers of women, the criminal networks. So for the first weeks we have gathered the information and the intelligence on how they operate, and now we will move to phase 2, which is in the high seas, in full respect of international law, the possibility to seize the vessels and to bring the suspect smugglers to justice, so that the criminal organizations find it more difficult to make money out of trafficking people. And we will do this in full respect of international law in high seas. And I have had the chance of discussing this also today with some of our colleagues, in particular with Foreign Minister Lavrov, sharing the fact that this is indeed a contribution to fighting criminal organizations and also fighting the financement of other kind of criminal organizations, like terrorist ones that are happening in the region. Thank you.
Thank you. You mentioned there might be political space for new initiatives in the coming weeks. More details on what exactly that might mean. And also, was Iran invited, and did they attend today? Thank you.
Was he invited?
Iran.
On the second, I understand they were invited, but as long as I was in the room, they were not there. But let me say that the management of the calendars in this ministerial week is quite challenging for everybody. On the first question, I don't have the possibility now to get more in detail, but I think that over this ministerial week we have heard from different actors narratives that are different, but have or can be led to a common ground. In the official speeches, in the bilateral meetings, in the multilateral meetings that we have had over the week. And I believe that this can lead in the future weeks to strengthen the efforts done by the UN in the UN framework to have and to develop a different push for political negotiations to the transition. Again, some use very different words, but I see a possible common ground for a common diplomatic effort to bring an end to this war.
Is the EU considering a
I'm sorry, we had to close. If you have a question, the minister can take in Arabic.
معالي الوزير، بلدكم الكريم تحمل أعباء كبيرة من أجل موضوع اللاجئين وبذل جهودا كبيرة لتقديم خدمات لهم. ألا ترون أن المجتمع الدولي بعد مضي 4 سنوات و7 أشهر قد تأخر كثيرا في دعم الأردن لمواجهة هذه الأعداد الهائلة من اللاجئين؟ وهل لمستم إرادة حقيقية لدى هذا المجتمع لمعالجة المشكلة من جذورها بحيث يعود اللاجئون إلى بلدانهم؟ شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا لك، وبجاوب باللغة العربية لأنه كان السؤال بالعربي. طبعا نحن نقدر كل الدعم الذي أتى من المجتمع الدولي، ونحن وصلنا إلى هذه المرحلة من تفاقم هذه الأزمة وخصوصا في عام 2015 بسبب عدم كفاية الدعم، وكان الطرح الأردني واضح، وأيضا شاركنا في ذلك الطرح اللبناني، أنه على المجتمع الدولي ضرورة زيادة وإدامة المساعدات التي تقدم فيما يخص الأزمة السورية. أولا ما يطلب للاحتياجات الإنسانية حتى الآن كان دائما يلبى دون الطموح، وهذا جزء أساسي من سبب أن الوضع تحول إلى أكثر سوءا في هذا العام خصيصا، وأصبح يعني اللاجئ السوري يفضل أن يجازف بالموت حتى يصل إلى أوروبا أملا من أن يصل إلى وضع أكثر إشراقا له وأملا للمستقبل. الجزء الأهم أيضا من ذلك إضافة للوضع الإنساني أن دعم جهود المنع وجهود الدول التي تستضيف اللاجئين السوريين فيما يخص المجتمعات المستضيفة، فيما يخص متطلبات التنمية والمنع التي تزيد من قدرتنا على التحمل واستمرار تقديم الخدمات والدعم لهؤلاء اللاجئين. كان أيضا هناك تقصير من المجتمع الدولي في تقديم دعم كافي لمساعدتنا على إدامة القيام بهذا الدور الذي نفتخر أن نقوم به، ليس لأننا نطلب شيء في المقابل، لأنه هذا جزء من قيمنا. والأردن معروف تاريخيا على مر العقود كل موجات اللجوء التي تحملها، تاركا حدوده مفتوحة دائما لأشقاء العرب في حال كان هناك صراع يحيط به. لذلك نعم أكدنا على هذين الموضوعين، وأضفنا موضوع مهم جدا أن المجتمع الدولي يعاقب بشكل غير مباشر الأردن ولبنان، لأنه وصلنا في تصنيفنا في مجال التنمية إلى دول دخل متوسط عالية، فهذا يعني أن متطلبات التمويل والقروض والمنح التي نأخذها أصبحت أقل بكثير وأكثر كلفة نظرا للنجاح الذي حققناه في مجالات التنمية. فلا بد من مراعاة وإعطاء استثناءات للأردن ولبنان على الأقل بالقروض التي نأخذها لإدامة ما نقوم به، إضافة المنح وإعطائنا قروض أكثر تيسيرا حتى نستطيع أن نقوم ونستمر بالدور الذي نقوم به. وشكرا.